hole that they didn't even expect themselves to be in, especially to start the day. It was Victor V that stopped the momentum from building from Peterbot himself by taking him out in a crucial 1v1 to save Epic Well because he was down.
It actually looks like Epic Well Paper and Victor V might have visited that bird a little bit too late. iDrop and co likely already stripped most of the metal here, and it's just the scraps left behind. Paper, Victor V, and Epic, they didn't exactly have the most primed up loadouts, so they got to be really wary of that team on Shining Span.
Yep, just kind of taking the risk of not being able to get loot early on, try to get a fight to go their way. See if it does continue to work out, but Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual still spinning that wheel, landing at the outskirts, not contesting Dystopia, and quickly moving on over towards Foxy Floodgates. You know that visuals, raids, and Minish typically do land over here. They're already gone position, and that team in front that they're hunting down. But from one side of the map to the next, contested fights still continue. Adapter landing good shots onto Pump, forcing him back, and he's kind of separated from the rest of the team. That's going to give Adapter just a little bit of confidence to move on over. But since he doesn't know exactly where all three members of this trio are at, it's just a little bit too risky for him to keep that aggression up as Baka, Pars, and Pump all drop down low to that low ground just to refarm what little materials that they do have.
The problem is both of these teams are now rather isolated, Jacob. They spend a decent amount of time in this position, way far east of everybody else. So now Adapter, Mansour, they don't even have any material. They were trying to pounce on this opportunity, but when the transformation isn't wrapped up nice and pretty like what we've witnessed between Tayson and Fernando, they just get this drawn out benefit either team because they're really low materials. They're so much everybody else. They still gotta push in eventually, and
what the fuck is this wapen? Man. Oh mate, deze heeft dubbelpump. Oh,
not enough resources as well, and you gotta realize even if they do
gelijk vissen. Ah? Ik heb 60. Maar ik kan nu wel verder. Van een discipline. Oh, wat is dat? Nee, mag je komen. Spoom. 40. En boven me. Op mij. Nice. Wat dropte die bos?
Ja, en kooi. Wat wil je?
Nee, ik pak ooit alles stingers. What the fuck is die chest? Bro, wat? Zweer ik ben niet dom.
Die chest kan je niet pakken.
Probeerde jij het ook?
Ja, een andere keer.
Oh. Dat is die, ik heb 0 mis. Zijn crashworks.
Not necessarily fighting the same offense with two eliminations. Nations quickly rotating away from that and ends up in an
Wil je gewoon hier droppen? Wil je gewoon hier droppen?
Wat droppen?
Wil je hier droppen?
Gewoon landen.
Ja.
Kan.
Ik heb geen beamwapen, dus als iemand kan beamen.
Wat heb je?
Ik heb geen beam, gewoon een ER. Ik heb geen long range wapen, dus als iemand kan schieten, pak hem.
Hier, neem deze.
Oeh. Wat, je hebt al vis, toch?
Ja. Hé, dat kan niet. Die coin kan niet.
Ja, je moet double jumpen, je moet crashes droppen.
Hoezo?
Neem jij vis, dan neem ik crash vis, want je kan niet double jumpen. Huh?
Ik heb al vis.
Je hebt al vis.
Ja.
Wacht, maar. Oh, ik wil die sleur.
Wat wil je?
Oh ja, weet je, laat die crash vis aan. Neem jij die sleur? Wacht, wat zei je? Wat heb je in je inventory?
Ik ga gewoon die
Vis,
vis
toch?
pakken als ik nieuwe vis.
Je hebt vis, toch?
Ja, ik heb 200 vis.
Ah, geef mij tenminste dat één vis en
Maar je hebt
die
nog vis
sleur.
daarboven. Ik heb gemaakt. Daar.
Ja. Maar wil je niet liever de sleur? Je hebt gewoon 200 vis, bro. En je hebt die dubbel jump, bro.
Niks, hè? 1 slurp heb je niks aan.
Eén slurp geeft je 200 HP, als je moet clutchen is dat aan.
Ja, maar welke plek is plek?
Ik ga gewoon wegrennen en niet op je te rijden.
Waar is die dan?
Hier, ik gooi mij. Kom een beetje naar dichterbij dan. Ik gooi nog een keer opnieuw als het er ver is. Dus die ik heb nog bro, zo weinig hout dat ik al had.
Ik kijk gewoon even 6 uurtjes.
Huh?
Ik kijk gewoon even 6.
Zijn die games al begonnen?
Ja.
Ik denk eerst dat ik ga kijken, maar ik wil gaan weten wie wint. Misschien kijk ik de laatste game. Ik denk ga. Oh nee dan.
Hey, fight.
Huh?
Fight daar.
Je wil dat pushen toch?
Ja hoor. Je hebt vis toch?
Ja.
3 teams.
Niet te diep erin. Wil je op eentje crashen?
140, 140.
Heb je crash?
Nee.
Hier!
Je hebt er 40.
Recht. Ik pak zijn crash weer. Achter mij. Oh nee, deze achter mij. Ik heb hulp nodig.
Ik jump.
Mijn box. Oh nee, deze. Hij heeft zoveel geluk.
Allebei
Ze zit helemaal in mijn bult. Boven is van mij. Nee. Dat bedoel ik. Zorg dat je blijft leven.
120.
Oh, waar de... Oh nee, deze. Hij spant gewoon mijn fucking box. Ik box hem nog gewoon per ongeluk. Ik wil gewoon een extra box maken. Hij spant er niet in. Fuck man. Bro, hoe komen er zoveel teams naar één fucking fight? Er zijn al 3 teams aan het fighten. Wij komen third party, komt er nog iemand. En ik word ook wel soort gelezen.
That's something that we're really gonna have to watch watch out for, especially if they're looking for a comeback today through eliminations. Savage, Chad, Reason trying to do the same thing. Slow to rotate on out. They're prioritizing getting Storm Surge. A lot of these teams that are slow to rotate, those are the ones that are making a focus on this fight.
This is a big turnaround right now, though. It's only Cammy and Hydra left to duke it out up against some of Asia finest, but they're going for the double revive. It's a little bit greedy, but Tay, he's actually the only healthy member. They're gonna opt for possibly trading out revives, but no, Tay recognizing just too far away. Crash pad out, going for the escape, but Hydra and Cammy aren't gonna be able to get pursuit, at least not right away. But there's nowhere left for him to run. Tay, he's just gonna have to full on bail.
And sometimes you just they don't get a choice. They're trying to bring all the loot back into their box. They know other teams potentially nearby, but I'm the one that really kind of opened up that opportunity, gets the knock, and the rest of the team was there. And that's a confidence boosting feeling, knowing your entire team has the best, make the move. Sometimes they're even not saying anything. Clicks, Higgs, and Yamzo kind of, I wouldn't say changing up their overall strategy, but all three of them as a team, they plan towards those RBs just outside of the Supernova Academy. They get as much of that brick as possible, which kind of maxes out for the most part, and then they go and loot Supernova Academy, trying to get all the loot. I know everybody hears the crowd roar right now. Swizzy, Mustache, and Queasy, business as usual, getting their early game Storm Surge, getting their early game breakups, and then accessing the ball.
And the main thing to say here, Jacob, is that these guys aren't changing anything. Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache are running this back as if we're still in day one, despite it being force them to change their strategy.
Ik ga weer zo, ik ga hier landen. En dan kom ik
Ik land op
die kant op.
Ik land aan de andere kant weer.
Ik heb ook vast
Ik land misschien bij die ding, bij die chest, bij die drum.
Waar hier?
Hier op die hoek.
Ik land hier. Ja, jij kan daar landen als ik hier.
Ik doe echt
Er is niemand. Oh nee, wel hoog. Ja.
Oh, zijn moeder. Deze guy is in het midden bij jou geland, hij is bij mij gekomen.
Wat heb ik hier?
Hij is bij jou geland daarnaast en hij is bij mij gekomen.
Powerful duo that can definitely pop off the strong performance here. One, all the momentum shift that they need. So many times before, Jacob, that they've got to try and idea.
Reload shotgun.
Bro, waar de fuck gaat de schot naartoe,
Maar dit
bro?
was niet zo snel met de shotgun, bro.
Oh.
And 180.
They're almost 500 damage below the threshold. Cooper Curly, they don't see if it activates. They won't be able to get that visual, but they will hear the shields crack if it does come down to it. But they're just kind of hunkered down below, biding their time as much as possible. Time that they may not necessarily have.
Wacht,
They
mag
have
ik wel
extra
even
shields
kijken,
in their
wacht.
loadout,
Kijk
but they
eens wat
don't
het
have any extra HP.
Ga ze
heals.
hierin?
Sooner or later, they might be pushed into a situation where they have to get elimination, especially now that a whole nother duo starts to make their way in. That's Tay and his teammate, but up goes Cooper without no HP. Exactly what I said, they have to go for elimination, but Valor, he's at least going to be able to steal away one. That's one less chance, but Storm Surge activates, making it just a little bit easier as Cooper and Curly have to go.
Oeh, kom eens shit. What the fuck heb je aangezet, bro?
Ga eens erin weer.
Nee, bro, ik ga dit niet spelen.
Zo niet.
Ik ga fucking arena spelen.
Even 6 kijken.
Bro, ga jij naar de VSS kijken?
Ja, dat wil ik. Wil je kijken of zo?
Nee,
Hoezo?
boeien. Dat is me niet boeiend.
Every single bit of healing resources he has.
Dus gaat
And it's
kijken.
still likely not going to be enough.
Yeah, like I said, the shield's cracked.
Ik kan me zeggen wanneer die weer...
And immediately turn around, trying to land shots. Valor's doing just that, and he barely gets himself above that damage
dan moet jij wel
threshold. And he
klaar zijn met
knows
kijken.
he cannot
Ik zeg, dan moet jij wel klaar zijn met kijken, denk ik, als ik een paar potjes heb gespeeld.
Als je 8 potjes hebt gespeeld?
Als ik een paar potjes heb gespeeld.
Oh.
See Vanya and Marius. You can see the zone
Kan het toch ook op je
just
telefoon
outside
zetten?
of OXR HQ. These guys have been
Kan het ook op je
smooth
telefoon
sailing so
zetten?
far
Ik wil
in
echt
this
dat.
game.
Je kan het ook gewoon op je telefoon zetten.
For shotgun
Ja, maar dan kan ik
damage
nog
and
niet goed
moving
kijken.
zone says enough, Jacob. These guys have been getting
Dan kan ik niet focussen op
fraggy
de
and
game.
they plan to continue their streak, especially with all the company that's starting to dogpile around them.
What you saw in the distance, Baka, and I believe ours both going down. Looking to get cleaned up by Chap, Savage, and Reason. 410 damage above the threshold. Slap dab in the middle of the zone as well. Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot. I was talking to them before today. They didn't have too many game plans other than just play better. They know their performance yesterday was abysmal, and that's just a huge fire underneath their belt to do just that and have a good comeback. And Chino's just fighting on the other side. That's Anon all the way from OCE, but his teammates are coming in. Backup has arrived. Chino's just getting pushed back further and further. Resign's starting to feel that confidence, but there's too many players all around. For Doxy, surprising Resign's catching him off guard. Multiple players just trying to push in, but for Doxy making sure to save the day. Down goes Resign's, and up goes their chances to win this fight.
Just look at the way that Prodoxy and Chino played this box fight, though. So many separate angles opened up at once. Resign's HP just disappeared. Prodoxy and Chino still looking to try and hold things down too here, Jacob. They're fully aware of the fact that they've done enough to at least push Oshi back temporarily, but that's not to say that it has had the same effect on the Polish counterparts directly next to where they're located.
We do have that extra med kit down below, just in case. Renan, Alex, they're trying to come back for revenge. Chino's gonna be the first one to go down. Well played shot by Alex. He had all the power behind that one, forcing Prodoxy to try to back up and get the revive. The audio visual is coming out. Prodoxy trying to reposition. He has to let the cone go. He has to let his teammate go down. That one's quickly cleaned up, but that doesn't mean he has to stop fighting back. With 2 versus 1 in this situation, and him being slightly on the edge of zone, if not out, he has to start getting information that is vital to his success. And even one more team going down, he'll start to get placement points on top.
Problem as a solo, though, is that there's only so many directions you can look at once, and overhead, Swizzy, Merstash, Queasy, they're already starting to break through. You saw that first knock take place right now for Swizzy, and he's still after another Ritual and Peterbot. They don't even realize they're being shot from underneath, but it's actually Sphinx who's taking down Peterbot in this lobby. Shadow from behind, never sees it coming. Swizzy's got that elimination, and Muzz trying to save his teammate's life, but can the double revive actually come to fruition with Swizzy applying so much pressure?
Yeah, multiple players, and he has that exotic, which is so much damage, just tearing through those builds. But you can see as Sony was his own, hold on over, they kind of brought themselves back. Probably Queasy making the call. We have to start to rotate. This zone is vital for our success. If we can get high ground here, that could be our 4th game win. But while one team's having an easy game, Iamzo and Clicks, with one of them being down. Iamzo's trying to get him back up. They have 1 crash pad left in their inventory, 6 splashes for the HP if they need it, some Flowberry Fizz, but it is a far pull for a duo to have.
A little bit sad there for Merstash. He really wanted to see if he could get a good chunk out of Acorn Agers and Poyo on that rotate, but crash pads are out along with the Flowberry Fizz. Yamzo's immediately going to try to claim a position towards the front side, but holds back for a second here. A little bit split from Clicks. Clicks going to build right back up where his teammate's at. He needs some of these chuck splashes, but of course, another rotate. There is no time to stop, especially with Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstash right back at home base on the high ground.
That happened so fast, you blink, you might have missed it, because now there's a whole nother team on top. They're getting battled out, chopped down even once, but the consistency for them to remain in the clouds is absolutely amazing. Swizzy, Merstash, and Queasy making it look easy down below. Everybody is at their disposal, and this is where we know what they do. They just target out second height over and over and over. They reconnect along the way, so teams are gonna have to think of something different here compared to yesterday.
Savage Chef and Reason seem like they're a little bit more intent on just trying to stake out these front side rotations. But for Clix and Yamzo, it's likely going to be a backside of zone play. They're going to have to find a refresh. They have hardly any materials to work with. Yamzo doing what he can to drop whatever build he can for Clix, but there's nowhere safe to tarp out through inside of these lower layers. Everybody is frazzled here. Yapko, Panther, and Seti also in a very strong top 3 position. They want to hold on to it, Jacob.
They don't want to let it go. They worked way too hard to get this far. To go down here in 15th place. Storm Surge still active, forcing players to fight one another. Even though they have to rotate to the zone, they're trying to keep their 3rd place spot intact. They're only 8 points behind as we stand in this game, but Mustache, Sweezy, and Queasy are just double tarping, making sure to reinforce. But Veno, the two are trying to look up. At one point or another, maybe 2 zones ago, they were the team on high ground, but it got stolen away. Astos, Acor, they're ready to battle it out. M8 versus M8 as Poyo's ready to take on the competition, but towards the backside of zone, they chop it all down. Queasy, he saw that one coming from a mile away.
That's exactly why they had Mustache overhead, still looking to try and build things out here, but Swizzy blocking off Acorn so professionally. Everybody's been chopped up. They're all falling down. Agers has been eliminated. Poyo and Acorn trying to go right back up on the height, but it's Malabuka, it's Lux, it's Ping. They're the ones that have fully overthrown the high ground. They're the ones that are ready to find their first victory royale.
Mustache, Queasy still as a duo, but they're still holding that 1st place spot. Kanata is going to go down. Only 3 of the teams in our top 5 still alive. Mustache, Queasy, they're trying to be heroes, but Queasy not only takes a big shot, he loses Swizzy across the way. Mustache has to figure out a way to reunite into the same box. They do that very, very quickly, but it's not going to matter. Queasy goes down. Mustache gets the elimination, but he's all by himself.
The family sacrifice might have been everything that they needed, though. Mustache tarping like a madman, just trying to block off every possible angle. He knows there might be an opening, a teammate underneath that's just so much worse off than he currently is. But instead, it's both Kanata and Rapid. He's looking to play spoiler, but he can't get enough damage applied. Mustache still somehow, some way, tarping through this middle layer, and nobody seems to be cutting him off just yet, but he's running out of material, and Malabuka watched him overhead. They've lost Ping. Ping thought that he could take out Darm in the process. Instead, he loses his own life.
Somehow, Rapid, Kanata, Bolts all still alive on the low ground. Even with Bolts going down, they got the front side of zone and a chance to get the revive. A couple eliminations being cleaned up. Biko trying to stay alive. Malabuka and Walk still on high ground, raining fire down from above. They get that knock onto Kanata, and you see the Flowberry Fizz coming out. They're getting ready. The inevitability, the drop down from above, it comes in. Kanata gets cleaned up. The Siphon comes into play. Walks is doing damage. Malabuka is causing pain.
Walks and Malabuka, they might just be able to do it, Chef. Not going to be able to withstand the pressure here. Malabuka with a huge cleanup shot. Walks now just needs to seal this one out. And just like that, Malabuka and Walks, they take down Pixie. And that's going to be the first victory royale here in Game 7.
A night and day difference when it comes to how these end games played out. Yesterday, not a single team looked up. Today, 1, 2, 3 or more teams try to fight for it, and it's Malabuka, Walks, and Pings that
Ja,
took
Mike?
it all,
Mike
Frankie.
is helemaal van
Let's
Oh.
get you up on your
Oh, waar zijn de praten dan?
Your fans want to see you. The Havoc fans want to see what? The mates want to see Pings and Malabuka. Malabuka, just one question really from me. What took you so long?
I don't know. We were not sure what to do on first day, but maybe we figure out something today.
You definitely figured something out. You managed to take the high ground from the high ground Kings, led by Queasy. Was this something you
Bro,
worked
ik heb
on,
maar
managing
lijp
to
één
take
bot uit
high
de
ground
lucht.
from the top spot?
I mean, it was pretty high ground this game, so we just climbed it.
So do you have the Americans to thank for taking it first and chopping the boys on top?
No, we just saw.
Just everyone. So why would you? I'm gonna actually head over to Chaka.
What? Do you have a word for this crowd that are supporting you and your teammates?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out, supporting us, and watching us play. It means the world. Hopefully we'll be able to clutch up and come back today.
And do you think you'll keep the consistency now that you start the day with an amazing victory royal? Do you think you'll keep your consistency?
Yeah, of course. If we just get some good soul pulls, I think we'll be able to win this day and come back.
Malabuka, just before I let you get ready for the next game, have you got anything you'd like to say to the Gentlemates?
May it win.
And the Gentlemates are on their feet, and I think they're probably going to be there for the entirety of this outbreak.
Nou, wil je een potje spelen?
Ik ben on een game.
Oké.
Y'all ready for this?
Cadeau voor de kleinste man van het huis.
Wat is dit?
Man, chill, is een cadeau. Is toch leuk?
Maak je je zorgen of een familielid het verkeerde pad op gaat? Ontdek hoe je het gesprek start op houdmisdatuitjebuurt.nl.
Ik kom.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fortnite Global Championship. This is day number 2, Game 7, the first of the day. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fortnite Global Championship. This is day Royale. They take away high ground from Queasy. We've only seen some attempt getting that incredible task so many times, but in game number 1 of the day, we've only seen some attempt. Malabuka sent it so many times.
I can't believe it is even possible, right? We talked about how secure we thought Queasy was as soon as he was able to get up on the high ground. I can't lie, though, it kind of felt like it was the team effort, right? Multiple teams going for it. At the end of the day, though, Malabuka walked and Ping, they were the ones that waited for the exact right moment. And oh my gosh, man, Malabuka got to the high ground. He quickly was like, nah, I don't want to be up here. I want to get in the mix. I know I need these eliminations to soar up the leaderboard.
Yeah, what was crucial about this high take is, of course, we saw Queasy on right at the beginning of that end game. Then we saw Akon's team going up to take it. They actually were successful in the high take. The crucial thing that actually ended up allowing Malabuka to take high was that zone pulled back. That 10th zone pulled back over all of the old builds that Queasy's team ended up making. And then, of course, it allowed Malabuka to save all those materials that they would have expended by extending out. They could then use that to then take height. So really well played end game from these guys. More of the same needed. I think they made a few adjustments early game as well because things were going a little bit wrong for them at the beginning of the game yesterday. And this is what they can do when they make it to endgame.
So insane, man. I love that we're starting to attack high ground, right? Like, we know high ground wins games, in some cases wins tournaments, and now as we turn attention to those standings, look at this. This lead is not what it once was, right? Now we're starting to close up. We're trying to just say, Queasy, hold on a minute. Let's not get crazy here.
Er komen voor een half uurtje weer of zo.
Oh man, I mean, look, we still got a lot to do if we're hoping to catch Queasy.
Hallo?
I mean, you're talking about it. The lead isn't what it once was, but it like
Hoor je me?
170 points, still very, very comfortable.
Kom maar voor een half uurtje weer.
This is kind of what Mini was talking about as we were watching the game, because he was like, yeah, I mean, you know, they're down, still potential for Mustache to go ahead and solo clutch, but this is kind of the exact game they need. They don't need to soar ahead. They just kind of need to pick up enough points to kind of fend off the competition.
Yeah, this is technically their worst game of the weekend, right? I think they got a 7th in this game, but still, I know. Oh no, we'll wrap it up. But still, it's still a good game. They made it to end game. They took height. They did what they know how to do. Again, unfortunate, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, day 2, people are going to go for height, so things are going to look a lot different. Maybe that's now an adjustment to their play style. They might need to think, oh, maybe we need to go down, play mid-ground a little bit more, but it's not bad for them. They're still getting points. They're still clutching when it matters.
The result won't show it, but I just cannot believe how quick and decisive this team can like switch strategy on a dime. We saw them on the higher ground, right? Acorn's trio, they crash padded up. They were instantly fighting for it. And I swear it was within literally like 4 or 5 seconds, the entire trio of Queasy's was shooting up and trying to break out Acorn's trio to prevent them from actually securing the hideout. It was literally instant.
So good, and that's what makes Queasy such a great IGL. He has those things on lock, whether it's to try and retake height, whether it's to actually then drop down and try and take a different position. As long as you're all doing the same thing, that's what's most important. When you get teams that are trying to split, one's going up, 2 going down, it doesn't work. Queasy's got that team really, really well prepped, understanding it's my call, whether we go up, whether we go down, they're on the same page.
And I kind of talked about it, right? They defended it. They defended against the take from Acorn. Unfortunately, Malabuka's trio just way too aware of what was going up on the high ground. They kind of joined in on the fight and were like, hey, listen, you guys can keep fighting, we'll take the height.
That is crazy. We have a listen in from that last game. Let's see how things were going for Queasy.
Watch our height. Who's left right now? Wait, take it. I don't know. I have it, 100. I have it. I'm connecting. Yeah, I think. I went down. I'm gonna chop now. Chop it. I'm coming back. I'm dead from that thing. You got chopped again. Fine. Can you come to me? One time. Okay. I'm up. You guys get me. You can save me, no? Nice. Can you save me? I got 3 shots. Calm down. I'm stand you guys. I have sickness. Go. Okay. Go. I'm dead. You good? I don't care. I'm trying to. I'm chugging. Yeah. That's Go up. Wow.
Crazy stuff there. Hope you guys at home could hear it, because I sure couldn't. This crowd is going crazy. They stand behind Queasy, okay?
Yeah,
they know who they want to champion. They know who they want to win. Man, oh man, but for the trio, right, to be in this kind of situation, I love those adaptations. I'm almost curious, right? Now that they had someone contest them, now I almost wonder, what are they thinking going into this next game, right? What kind of little micro adjustments are we gonna make to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, in this scenario, I would not want to be Queasy, right? Because he's kind of got to be the guy that decides that for his trio. Hey, listen, do we kind of give up on the whole high ground thing? Obviously, that is our best strategy, but, you know, we're kind of have this comfortable lead to where if we kind of just played mid ground or low ground and make sure that we pick up, you know, a decent placement every single game, we'll still hold on to the lead, or do they just play what they know?
It's these moments where champions are made, right? When things aren't quite going your way, when something happens that you didn't expect, how do you adapt to that? How do you adjust what's been working so well for you to have the courage to say, right, you know what, let's change up what we're doing. Let's maybe loot in a different area. Let's try and look at other teams from Storm Surge early on, because it looked like they were a little bit lower down than we've seen them in previous games.
Yeah, true.
Maybe we change the way that we play our end games. That courage is what makes champions champions.
That is crazy. You know, yeah, you have that comfortability. How you say, look, we have to break what we know.
Yeah.
If we want to be champions, maybe that's the answer. Let's go back to these standings, though, and start taking a look at the second page and see kind of where things are going. Wanted to highlight here Mr. Savage showing up here in this final end game, having a good game. We still need work, right? There's still work to be done, but having, you know, starting to kind of pick up steam, starting to pick up momentum with 5 games more to go. I'm excited to see what else they bring.
I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't move at all from 11th, right? Yeah. They were in the mix, throwing that end game right there. I think it was Mr. Savage from the trio who took some of the splashes out into the storm early on to make sure that they ended up clutching up. I mean, it's great to see them in the mix. Obviously, you know, making it to the end game pretty often, but 11th place, they seem to be kind of stuck to that position on the leaderboard right now.
Yeah, and I think that just speaks to how high quality these end games are, right? They're very top-heavy end games. Lots of our teams that are doing well already are making end games and still doing well. So it's very tough for the teams that are a little bit lower down to sort of break into that upper echelon of placement. But if they keep the consistency going, if Savage can keep clutching up like this, having that IQ that we know he has, just to be able to have that experience, that understanding of the game, to sit back into the storm, try and farm out as many placements as possible, they can try and mount an attack here on the top 10.
I mean, yeah, look at that. Top 5 with 8 eliminations. Insane work from them. Obviously, the clutch kind of coming in, and they just don't move on the leaderboard, man. Yeah, it's just so tough out there.
You know what's crazy, too? Think about this year, right? Mr. Savage comes in, he's like, guys, wiping my hands, I'm not competitive.
Yeah.
And then here we are on a global stage putting on this performance.
I'm interested to see whether this can sort of reignite that sort of love that he has for the game, right? The grind factor that he has, his burning passion, desire to want to win an FNCS, because I really hope it does. I think this is a great opportunity for him. You know, they're not doing bad. They're in 11th place. They just came off the back of a really good game. They have the firepower. We've seen them performing very well in the end game as well. Maybe this is a sort of a beam of hope, if you like, for him for going forward. And we want to see him. Everyone in the EU, we all love him. We were all very sad when he announced that he was retiring, but very happy when he came back. And now he's here. What a story.
Oh my gosh. Also, we can't forget Clix as well, right? NA. He's coming back. Don't even worry about it. He's putting on a show for us here. Again, though, the job is not done, right? We do have 5 more games, but 5 is going to dry up so quickly, Vivid. So for not only Clix's trio, but for every other trio, we really need to make sure our strategy is locked tight.
It felt like yesterday I was almost begging for a game from Clix's trio here to just please make it to the end game as a healthy trio. You know, give them an opportunity, give yourselves an opportunity to show your game plan, show how good you are, show how good of a year you've had over on the NAC region. Again, right there, game number 7, a whole night's of rest, opportunity to go over it. Higgs is down early.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not the ideal start for them. They've made it to the end game, which they've been doing quite consistently well so far. They're not in a bad position by any means. And I think they just need that one big game. Ideally, sooner the better, right? Because they're a team that does thrive on hype. I know Clix is, you know, one of the biggest streamers, if not the biggest streamer in Fortnite. He lives off of the people watching him. He wants to be in the spotlight. He wants to have that moment to himself. And that could almost catapult them. That could give them that confidence, instill that confidence back in them for the rest of the games. For them, they've just got to try and make something happen in the end game, more so, as you said. Stay as a trio, make something happen, and hopefully feed off of that hype and confidence.
Maybe that's a VR and getting rallied by like the crowd, right? Like having them to push you over the line to kind of start to build that momentum. But I like what you pulled out, the sooner the better, right? And it's not even just them, it's everyone, right? These little strategies with only 5 games. Guys, it's only 5 games. If we're gonna try and pull out some kind of strategy, if we're gonna try and swap our drop spot to land on someone else, it has to happen now, right? Like if we're not in this top 10, we gotta get ourselves in there.
I mean, the best time to do it would have been last game, but the best time is now, right? This is the time to switch things up. I think this is an important moment for the teams, right? They've had a little feel as to what the lobby's looking like, well, what teams are doing around them, which is so crucial in the Surge meta. So now they can really make those adaptations. It's all well and good looking back at the games from yesterday. This is a completely different day. Everyone's doing different things.
Yeah, and touch on a last couple of few points here from that game specifically, right? We even saw Veno. He was kind of up on the high ground. He was kind of, you know, tutoring with the idea that he can maybe take it from like 8th zone, so kind of build up for it, and actually end up like fighting for it or trying to defend it. But hey, listen, they were kind of thinking about it, and then obviously Kanata's trio finding themselves in the mix towards the end game as well.
Guys, you know I love breaking down things between the games, but I'm getting word it is almost that time to kick back into all of it. Never mind! That's the battle bus, so you know what time it is. Game 8 starts now.
Having a little bit too much fun with it, but you know there's so much fun to go around. We just couldn't keep it all to ourselves, Jacob. So Levin, why don't you give a big hello to everybody here for Game 8?
I had to get involved in the action, Taco. I mean, the games have been way too good. I couldn't watch for too long. I just wanted to jump in for at least the one game, if you'll have me.
I'll have you, bro. We could be here for the rest of the day. We could just put a day 3 tomorrow. We could just cast all those games. But Levin, this fight, one that's been going all weekend long.
It's been relentless. Prodoxy's trio have had the better of them of late, but can they do it again? We know both teams can do incredibly well when they survive off spawn, but the surviving part is the hardest.
And that's the real issue here, Levin, because Tyson, Chicho, Atris is the most split that we've ever seen both of these teams drop, but we know exactly what comes next. If they're not quick with these eliminations, if they don't clear this out fast enough, somebody else is bound to roll on over.
That one looked a bit different. We're used to seeing these guys get to scrapping straight away. Both teams getting some time to loot up.
If Veno actually got that first elimination onto Coyote, it looked like Yuma was trying to play aggressive and try to clean it up, but Veno just created so much distance, it made it too much of a risk to continue to try to push it down. But back and forth, these off-spawn battles looking to get chaotic more and more so. Tayson almost piecing one up, but they found an exit. Chicho is in a struggle. He goes down. That's the first one knocked, but Prodoxy's down as well. That's going to be a 2v1 situation with Tayson getting knocked. It's all a Trish to try to get away. He's scrambling around. He evens the fight up with a knock onto Pablo.
But the damage has already been done. Gino's just not healthy enough to stick around. He can't even attempt to play for that revive onto Pablo.
And this is why these off-spawn battles between these two teams have been happening so quickly. Both teams are aware that once they take a second too long, this trio is going to roll on in and make it a nightmare. Again, Gino able to get away, and maybe his trio still has hope in this game, but not the start either teams would have wanted that.
And they're still going to have to revisit some other method to reestablish all of that lost surge from those full eliminations. But Gino, still a bit of a mastermind play there. He knew the fail was the perfect moment.
This is it right now. Uncontested yet again, but the biggest difference from that last game to every other game before, there's more and more players looking up. There's more and more teams ready to contest it. They realize there's only 6 games left throughout the entirety of the day. 5 now with 1 already done, and their chances to overcome that point deficit is going right out the window.
I mean, watching it on the sidelines, it doesn't look like anything really can get in these guys' way. I think they've showed their ability to still get so many points out of games, even if it's a game where height doesn't quite go their way. One of them still able to clutch. Can anything stop them today, Taco?
And that's the thing, though, is can anything stop them? Not necessarily, but can anything catch up to them? There's nothing scarier, in my mind, than a wounded animal, and that's exactly the position that Peterbot Cold and Ritual have been in after yesterday. But Gabzetta away, Scarpa, they picked up exactly what they needed to. Chino's not going to have that opportunity to try and play hero.
Uh-oh, the third parties, maybe in this case, going to be a fourth party overall. They're trying to move in. Braids, Visuals, and a Minish. They realize with 105 points, that's not nearly enough, or at least not close to what they thought they'd have. So they're now just going on the hunt. Eliminations, 4 points each. They look at GabZeta, they look at Wei and Scarpa. That's 12 possible points. One less team in their path, and a chance to try to at least steal away some of this loot and XP.
Thinking about GabZeta, Wei, and Scarpa having priority control right now, though, on the Queen. Braids, Diminished Visuals, they see just how distracted GabZeta, Wei, and Scarpa truly are. They are lurking, they are creeping up ever so steadily, perfectly concealing themselves, but this is where patience and trigger discipline really come into effect.
But another team, that's a fifth party. A fifth party's now coming in towards the side. So even though Braids, Diminish, and Visuals are trying to lurk and grab some eliminations, surprise attack one, they could be the ones that's happening to them. But Kadu, Tisco, Striker, instead of going for a lurk, they just immediately take the high ground. They said, hey, if you guys want to rotate out of Rangers Ruin, you're going to get tagged up the entire time.
I still have no idea about a Minish's team just waiting in the wings. When that opportunity opens up, they will be ready to take it. But which team is going to play their hand first? Who will make that first move and knock the domino over?
Just a little bit of a stare down currently. Kadu, Tisco, Striker. While they had seemed initially so intent on getting involved, the way that they've now just put everything to a pause, surely this has got to work out for Visuals.
We've got to start to think so, right? We know in this lobby the thresholds for Surge are so high. Time is such a valuable currency. The more time you spend doing nothing, the less time to have to get Surge later on. Someone has to do something quickly, and I think they're starting to realize that.
Oh, but yeah, I think everybody's realizing things aren't pushing. They're not happening as quick as they should. The third parties don't got their opportunity to lurk for elimination. So Striker, Kadu, Tisco, they're going to be the first ones rotating on out. But Arc School and Sauco, look, instead of going towards the south, typically they were fighting that team. Kadu and his entire trio. This time they're pushing up towards the north. Vortex, Goofy, and Mountain are going to be in their line of sight. School missing a crucial shot. They are in the zone, so every second is just more damage being ticked off. Sauco's going to be the first one dropped, though. NA West is now in danger.
Arc, he was doing so much to carry his team yesterday, but School not going to have that opportunity. Vortex, Goofy, and Mountain defend their current hold, but it's also making you wonder what happens to Queasy now that they've been interrupted.
Yeah, this is going to, again, be a real test. Will it be a chink in the armor? Will it be another walk in the park? For our OXR HQ team, things looking like a walk in the park. I mean, we've seen them do this many of the games so far in this competition. And the crowd will chant for Vanya Bubu. They know things are looking good for their M8 boys right now. Oh! Uh-oh. Pixie will be fine, I'm sure. The revive will come through. Got me excited there for a second. You know me, I like action. I like seeing the knock.
You were excited till you noticed that it was done by both, and then immediately you key back in.
I quickly remembered, Taco.
A little bit of that third base action.
But is it okay? There's a third party, there's a fourth party, the fifth party's towards the north. Okay, we got a sixth party now joining Rangers Ruin. Honestly, when Rangers Ruin first appeared, this is the team that said, hey, we're ready to take a triple contested fight against Prodoxy and Taste Trio. They ended up changing things up a little bit, but now they're going back to that home base where they first called it. And now they're just trying to get damage onto anybody, and this might be a good plan for a team like Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual that's had struggles throughout the first 6 games on day one. They're trying to figure out the formula for success here.
It wasn't about the struggles, it's more that they've just been homeless. There's nowhere on the map that they've been able to establish themselves, but the crash pad from overhead, getting the jump onto Scarpa, that is a big opening factor here for Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold.
Pixie, Amzo, Higgs, business as usual. And it's the thing about this team is they know how to fight. They know how to play for Surge. And I think that's why we see them in the top 10. It's just they kind of have the little hiccups, the little speed bumps towards the end game, maybe getting a little bit too aggressive, playing as individuals, and we do see them kind of stuck as duos. This game around, I want to see a change up. I want to see no matter what happens, right or wrong play, they stick as a full trio, because when you do that, sometimes miracles can happen. But you're seeing kind of one side, the north side of the map, kind of getting a little aggressive. Teams just trying to push each other in order to get their Storm Surge. On the south side of the map, with the zone pulling over in this direction, this is where you're going to see more and more of those Surge bases set up.
A lot more time to accrue some damage. A lot more flexibility here. Hands up. Big weekend for him. And he's delivering so far. He's with 2 experienced LAN players. So he's shown that he can hold his own. Seti isn't a fan favorite. The crowd aren't loving Seti, but Seti is used to not being the favorite. He's used to people doubting him. And so he won't let that bother him too much.
Kill over here, the zone's kind of favoring them out of all 3 trios that are in this direction, but shots continue to pour in, and it doesn't even look like he knew exactly where those shots came from.
And look, I fully understand that Peterbot, Ritual, and Cole, these guys are such prominent players on their region and just considered top players overall. But even still, there's only so many drops that you could actually practice efficiently, and that has been a real thorn in their sides throughout this weekend.
Oh, no! The classic! They dropped down the Surge base, and with that fall damage, that's easy Surge for them. It's raining loot, and a chance for them to come back.
That is so sweet.
Not for paper. Victor, Epic Whale. But one team's slip up, a little bit caught lacking. That's exactly what the adaptations you have to kind of anticipate heading into a day 2 format.
It's on the feed. Gagers going from that to getting another knock around the map. Kanata bolts, Rapid. They haven't had to move far from their actual initial drop spot. You see them saving the slurp truck down below for those extra heals. Seeing Rapid just kind of eye out the land right now. He is the IGL for the team, just trying to figure out where players are currently at, deep into the zone, and where they need to start to rotate to, so they have the least congestion. And in the background, Queasy, Swizzy, Merstash, that's a team that you gotta think that Kanata just spotted out. And you know what they're looking for, Taco Levin. They're looking for that bunker.
They want it, but are they going to actually be able to grab it with Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid so close by? Be pressed to believe, hard pressed to believe that Kanata would let that one go for free. Same case scenario for his teammates, but picks Demon's Arm. They've just been playing their own methods, and it's worked out heavily for them.
Team with such little experience, but you could never tell from watching them in the lobby. Set game plan, set structure, and excellent execution. The young Poles continue to make their mark on this lobby, but there is still plenty to do. Acorn and Aegis have plenty to do here. Foyo gonna have to be picked up.
Somewhere along the way, they might be able to find him, but if they aren't able to bring him back, it's basically an uphill battle for Acorn and Aegis. Merstash, Swizzy, and Queasy, though, they're still able to make their way towards the bunker. So Kanata, Rapid, Bolts, probably thinking better, not really willing to get caught up in this instance, but maybe they choose to wait outside. Maybe it's somebody else entirely that might be looking to shut Queasy down.
There's very few teams, Levin, that can even access this vault this early on in the game. So even there, they're not that close to another. They have to rotate towards that OXR HQ. They have to rotate towards the south. So for Vanya and Marius and Pixie, they're going to be able to kind of see Merstash, Swizzy, and Quizzy. If they've memorized their outfits throughout the course of the game, they're definitely going to get that 100% confirmation and a chance to take them down if they're going to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's something Vanya will keep track of. So we'll see if that ends up leading to a clash between the two teams. It's something Vanya predicted would happen. He said he wants to play for Height today. We'll see if he's a man of his word. Paris and Chap and Mr. Savage have done incredibly well at times throughout this competition, but speaking to Mr. Savage yesterday, he said, hey, I feel like we can do even better. We got another gear to go up.
Multiple games yesterday inside of the top 6. Can you imagine going from, hey, I'm done with Fortnite, to a chance to win even more money, continue to build your legacy? And for someone like Chap, he's a youngin'. You know what I mean? He's still earning his stride, earning his respect, and he's doing it in such a good fashion. Their road through Major 3 to get that qualification spot and then showing up big in day 1. And now they got to lurk onto Spinx, Muzz, and Shadow, waiting for the countdown. 3, 2, 1, Spinx goes down. Reason, Chap, Savage, they're ready to start this fight. That's going to get cleaned up with ease, but instead of running away, they realize with a 3v2, it's now or never. They need the points if they want to climb that leaderboard.
Reason, Chap, and Savage, they're trying to be as quick as possible. They don't want to allow the opportunity for Muzz or Shadow to escape, but they're just not fast enough. Chap, Reason, Mr. Savage, they're gonna have to be content with the body loot off of Spinx alone. But Chap's still seeing if he can try and pull out a little bit more here. Good tag into Shadow's HP bar. They've got Muzz a little bit cornered, but Chap, Reason, Mr. Savage, this is all that they want. They're stuck just outside Edge's zone, and they know if they clear out Muzz and Shadow, they're gonna have free rotation path with nobody left behind them.
You see Reason, his instincts are to make plays happen. You don't want to be too ambitious, don't want to give them any room to put your team in a bad situation. This is Savage taking a big chunk of damage, and that will slow things down just a moment. And again, they did well to get the first. Of course, they want even more out of this. They know these guys are going to be weak, these guys are going to be on the back foot, so they'll continue to pressure, but let's not make any mistakes here, boys.
Yeah, they're out of zone. They're kind of thinking not too many teams even hear the noise, but get Zed away and Scarf, but they definitely do, and they're moving in. But Muzz goes down. Chap trying to finish this fight, and they do so. Savage takes down Shadow, but the third party is now making it hard for them to survive.
That's the way to do it. You saw Savage, Chap, both shotguns in hand, playing together, taking advantage of the man advantage, and now that puts them in a much more favorable position. Well played from Chap, Savage, and Reason.
Not the same story, though, for Clix. Visuals, Braids, and Diminished, since it didn't work out at Rangers Ruin. They're going to have to find that surge elsewhere. And unfortunately, it's only Clix, last man standing from his team, and just being absolutely battered. There's no way he's going to be able to withstand the pressure of Braids, Visuals, and Diminished coming out on top.
Not every day you see teams carrying away that minigun just to melt through those builds. You're not going to be able to hold the box at all, but this is exactly how that fight started. A lurk play coming out of a minute. He dropped a mini shed on his head, and they went in and cleaned up that last elimination onto Clix.
And you can see the frustration on Clix's face when he went down. Such a frustrating way to get out of this game. But they'll have to hit the drawing board.
Malibuco walks being all it takes is a quick pan over, and M8 is going to send a surging roar through this arena. That has got to be such an amazing feeling, but
fights that they strive for. Those are the fights that they are so effective in. We've seen it all year long. They'll find themselves in tough situations like that and create their way out of it.
511 damage here. Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid. They had a fantastic game number one. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pick up that VR, like Kanata said, to start the day, but they're here again with another opportunity with Rapid and Bolts by his side. His IGL, his Fragger, that's a lot of confidence that's continuing to brew in that trio. Same here for Pickstorm and Demus. I said underdogs to top dogs. Levin, this team is probably one of the biggest surprises in EU, right?
Yeah, these guys have been phenomenal. We've highlighted it so much. But this is another example of a game where they're playing at their own pace. Excellent timings. I know when we've spoken to Coach Sven, he's always talked about the preparation of these guys being so important. They understand how to play this lobby. And again, this looks like a game where we will probably see them in that top 5, top 4 towards the ends.
Pixie Vanya Marius, they want this. They're starting to get a little bit of posturing now. 8th zone. They're ready to maybe try and make that approach towards holding height, but it's still very early.
Is this the Vanya Bubu height game? Are we finally getting to see it here on land?
We finally got a chance here. 411 points. These are the ones that are essentially hot on the heels of that first place team. They're building out, looking for opportunities to reconnect. You see Marius focusing down that second height. It may not be an AR, but the damage is still there. But Flixie and Benno, they both go down. Vico's still 59 below the damage threshold. He does have minis, he does have some big pop, even a med miss. But the miracle thing is that Storm Surge is going to turn off. It's going to reactivate later on in this game, but at least he knows where he stands.
But they were just constantly teeter-tottering for far too long on that surge threshold. Mr. Savage in a very similar position. He's just trying to get out of the low ground, but he won't get the chance. Chap falls directly after him, and that's going to be a little bit of open ground now for somebody else to try and roll through in this ultimate lower layer. But still, Swizzy, Mustache, Queasy, they are plotting for that height take.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when you see a team fighting on zone transition. You want to be ready to rotate. These guys are Queasy scouting out the rotate. Where can he find an angle to use that crash pad? Gonna have to create more space to do it.
That one's going to be easy. Gets to the other side, but he's not even distracted by the other players in his path. He knows, get to the front side of zone, control the pace, control the tempo, worry about it later. And there's very few players next to him on that side. Camby, iDrop, Hottie going to be one of them. But on the high ground, there's not been very many teams that can contest them. Pixie, Marius, Vanya, this could be their chance to get that VR. And they get another elimination on the pump. Can they clean it up, though?
I like this from Vico, though. Still just out of sight, out of mind, but he might be able to make a huge play if he can find another elimination. Said no, Vico jumped on first. That's going to be the dream ending here in Game 8 for Benno's team, but Alex resigns. They've just got a little bit more time, a little bit of an extension here. They're going to take the crash pad front side zone, but lower layers have already established themselves. They've got to be careful of not getting chopped out.
Pixie, Darn, Demus, waiting till the last second, crash padding to the front side of zone. Swizzy, Mustache, Queasy, they have the materials. They did not play for the high ground. They're okay being down low in the dirt. They know they're the most dangerous team at this event, especially if you run into them. Kanata, Bolts, Rapid, scrambling around, trying to heal up. The splash is coming out, but that's the last of the white heals that Kanata has in his inventory. Up above, there's a team trying to put pressure down. You see them scrambling and forcing them to split up momentarily.
The respect, though, from Queasy to still make the commitment towards the low ground. Meanwhile, Bolts, Kanata, Rapid, just doing everything they can to try and keep themselves up and in the running here. But iDrop, Cammy, they're still looking to break through. They recognize there's an opportunity here. There's a team that might be weak, but they're shooting into a box that nobody's even inside.
Zone's put into the south. They got lots to figure out. Swizzy, Queasy now as a duo. We've seen them dominate from the skies, but how good can you guys take it? Swizzy wants it, looks to chop. Pixie, Marius, Vanya, they've held on well for now, but this is the hard part. Can they continue to hold on as the 11th zone ends?
See the double pump coming out from Marius. That's not going to deal a ton of damage or even pressure. Marius is dropping down along with Pixie, staying to the backside of the zone. They're making sure nobody can flank him as Bolts takes down Cammy. He is a solo champion on land before third parties. He's looking to have a masterclass performance here. 600 points. Swizzy is just trying to keep them going across that finish line, scrambling in and outside of the zone. The Slurp Juice just a little too late.
He just can't do it. Storm Sickness coming into effect. They spent so much time outside of the zone, but now Watts trouble on the high ground. down here for Vanya Boo Boo. Watt still trying to see if he can commandeer it for himself. Gonna have to use the Flowberry Fizz. Probably only a matter of seconds before he might get chopped down or force the drop and enter the fight down below. Panzer Seti and Yapko though, Levin, they're so healthy.
Yapko, they're looking strong, but can they close it out on the low ground? Demush will fall. And so now, Seti, Panzer, Yapko looking to remind the rest of the competition that they are in it for the win. Watts has no more HP to hold on. The tree will be the only thing stopping it. They just need to connect with the final shot, and the Storm will do the job. They are the favorites, but right now in Leon, you must give them respect. They win game number 7.
Seti, Yapko, and Panzer. I started the day saying just a few big games away from that top spot. Frankie, they're just a few games away.
On your feet, boys, on your feet. Seti, it felt like it was just a matter of time before you got your victory royale of the 2025 Fortnite Global Championships. How did you manage to do it from the low ground?
I mean, I just have the best teammates and we have very good chemistry, so it just works.
But the chemistry has come so quickly for you guys. Yapko, coming back, we talked about it earlier, from North America to Europe. Why do you think Europe is so successful here in Lyon?
I don't know, we're just crazy.
You are crazy, absolutely.
Incroyable, mesdames et messieurs. Félicitations, congratulations for this first victory royal. This victory is the beginning of a lot of victory, do you think? Do you think you have more victory now that you started?
Yeah, I think so.
So, how will you manage to have more victories now and to keep going on this?
I mean, we just maybe found the secret right now, so we're just gonna keep trying the same thing and gonna see how it works.
Seti, I think you're enjoying this crowd.
Yeah, I love them. It's like a love-hate relationship now.
Well, I think I'm gonna leave you to enjoy them a little more because we need to take a break. We'll be back with game number 9.
Nu tijdelijk bij McDonald's, de McCrispy Korean. Onze krokante kipburger met frisse kimchi koolmix en licht pittige Koreaanse saus. Probeer onze nieuwe hit, de McCrispy Korean.
In het politie was plaats voor een overval.
Weer een inbraak geweest volgens mij. Nee man, wat is er gebeurd? Wat gebroken?
Ik heb hem. Hier moet hij zijn.
En wat heb jij in huis? Vergroot je talent, vergroot je impact, vergroot jezelf. Kom bij de politie.
Deze tijd vraagt om jou. Maar wat houdt je tegen? Twijfel je of je het aan kan? Of moet je er juist voor gaan? Ontdek wat je kan als je er niet alleen voor staat. Tijd om een stap te zetten. Tijd voor Defensie.
The trio and my eyes all red. 1, 2, 3 of us can't compare. with us, everybody screaming like they did it. Believe in us, believe in us, believe in us, believe in us. So hits on the wait list. I was armed and dangerous. Take a shot, leave them faceless. I was armed and dangerous. On a whole different level. I can see why they hate it. I was armed and dangerous. I was armed and dangerous. You should have noticed. I've been focused. You should have known I've been loaded. You should.
Welcome back to the Fortnite Global Championship. Oh man, we've seen it. It happened. Seti gets a victory royale in LAN. Unfortunately, the crowd, they boot Seti. They don't know him. They don't respect him like that. They probably should. But still, for Seti and his trio, this is big, right? This is momentum, Kelly.
I mean, this is huge. And honestly, I think all three of these players deserve all the respect. Panzer coming in here, never being in a LAN position, and now coming out on top. But really what I want to talk about, Levin. Watching this team, Zone 9, dead side rotate, look at the congested side on the western side of that zone. Everyone was over there, and they just kind of snuck by on that dead side. And when you see a dead side rotation, that's usually earlier on in the game. But they did it Zone 9, and they did it so cleanly, and they kind of avoided all the other aggression on the low ground, which allowed them to make it to the end game.
And I mean, those are the type of rotations that, you know, Seti has been synonymous with in his career, right? He's always been able to execute those, especially in late game scenarios. I think the big thing with this team is, again, they had such a strong start yesterday. A lot of people sort of would have looked at them and gone, are they going to keep it going again today, right? Can they really get a foothold in this competition? Seti showing right here, he's here to stay. He won't let that crowd affect him. And that's going to be a big game for them in the standings. You see them now securing a position in third place.
Man, they are moving up, dude. But guys, look. Yeah, I mean, 438 points. If that was all, you know, that was the talk, it would be fine. But when we look at the top, Queasy, Murstache, Swizzy, 606 points. It doesn't matter what situation they're in, right? They don't need to be winning the game as long as they kind of hold on to that lead, right? Keep buffering that as long as possible. Kelly, eventually that game is going to show up, and they're going to win that game, and then that's it. GG, everybody else.
It's just so hard to really do anything to this trio when you look at their early and mid game and just how solid of a strategy they have. Obviously, the early game is just clean for them. They have no issues rotating into that bunker, making sure that they're getting those heals and that metal. They're able to take these early engagements, and they just use their metal builds because they know in the bunker they're going to be able to replenish all of that, and even in a surplus, and then they rotate over. This was the first time, though, that I really saw them kind of controlling the front low ground of zone. And even in that position, when they didn't have what they needed for high ground, you see them. They're still peeking up. They're still looking at high ground, potentially as a duo to steal it. Nothing can slow this duo down.
I mean, look, they're always going to give it a scout. You know, you always got to give it a look. And I mean, look, think about it. If they're not up there, they've got to be thinking whoever's up there is not as good as us, right? We're the best. So if we're not up there, maybe there's a chance for us. I mean, look, these guys, again, we've just been banging on about how good they are, but they continue to show us how dynamic they are as a trio.
That's right, man. I want to take a look at more of these standings. Whoop! Just kidding. You heard it. Game is ready. We're jumping back into all of the action. Let's go.
Just when it looked like teams would get a chance to catch up, they have another phenomenal game. Even without wins, it's looking like teams aren't able to slow down the masterclass performance of Queasy, Swizzy, and Murstache. It's almost going to take somebody or a full trio or more to take matters into their own hands.
We've still seen a little bit more of a stumble, though, from Queasy's trio in terms of managing those end-game instances, and Storm Sickness has definitely played a heavy part into how they're able to manage some of these moving zones. But right now, we got to worry about what's happening with Prodoxy. Tayson, Atrus is going to be the first one knocked. Prodoxy knows, though, he can't afford to let up the pressure anytime soon, but he can't get close either. He doesn't have a shotgun. He's only got this hammer assault rifle to work with. Pablo, Chino, Prodoxy, though, because of that initial knock and elimination, they're going to have the advantage here. Pablo can't get overhead. Tayson and Chicho are scrambling. Chicho with an excellent shot, delivering straight damage towards Pablo, but it's only Tayson left to try and fend Swarm is coming after him. Everything crumbling at his feet.
3v1 situation. Almost even more than that with the bugs taking him down as well. Tayson's gonna fall. And another off-spawn victory for Fidoxy, Chino, and Pablo. We talked about this being the team right here that will try to win it all and take matters into their own hands. But the drop spot roulette is not just for one team. Veno, Flixie, and Vico, they've had enough of Canyons crossing. They go toward the north side of the map. Balor, Adapter, Mansoor, they're the ones now getting surprise contested.
The issue for Veno, Vico, and Flixie as they find that last elimination onto Balor is that they know it's just not worth dealing with the delays of being contested at Canyons Crossing. They'd rather stake their bets elsewhere. And I like the idea to pivot. They have a very realistic chance of taking over the top 3 if they're able to actually play through their own strategies. But Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, every time they're on the screen, you almost anticipate that the Vanya boo-boo's gonna follow shortly after. Marius, just what a supportive teammate, tossing medkits their way, making sure that everybody has ample white heals to play tag off Surge.
Yeah, essentially consolidating all of those extra heals into one spot. Flixie, Amzo, Higgs, and even though Supernova Academy uncontested, they're sticking to the plan. They practice up until this point. They land over towards those RBs. They get some chests, but most importantly, it's how quick and fast you can kind of max out your brick material. And then they go right back on over to Supernova, where this time it's a little bit of a hot drop. Extra loot over there, but Epic, Paper, Victor V, that just wasn't a one-game wonder. They're going again at Cammy and iDrop. Hadi's already out, and that gives them a huge advantage. A momentum shift, confidence at an all-time high as Victor V looking to go toe-to-toe with Cammy there on the other side, fighting for pieces, knowing he has his teammates behind him. He's ready to go all in.
Ever since Victor V was able to shut down Peterbot in the first lobby of yesterday, Jacob, it seems like he's been playing with an all-new level of confidence, and that's the most lethal kind of confidence a player could possibly have. Victor V still looking to close in onto Cammy and iDrop, barreling at the walls here, and Paper directly underneath. It's a lot of pressure, and there's nowhere to run. That is until Pump possibly decides to enter the exchange directly overhead. Victor V closes off the back wall, though, but he's scrambling. The fragger is down. It's all up to Epic Whale and Paper to recover this.
The aggressive nature coming out of Pump. He's the one that locks in and gets a lot of the damage and eliminations. He was the one that won Major 3, forcing that spot to roll down to Victor V, Epic, and Paper, but at least 2 of them are still alive. The IGL, the 6-time FNCS champion, and with iDrop, Hadi, and Cammy rotating out of this, they have a chance here. It might not be a massive one, but a chance to survive, get Victor V back into the game. But you can see on the minimap, the zone is kind of telling. It might kind of center up this game instead of leaning one side to the next, but it's all about that north or south pole where these teams are going to have to rotate quicker than ever.
Different scenes for Chino, for Doxy, and Pablo. Ever since they won that initial battle at Rangers Ruin, had full control of the Swarm, now they're getting the priority access and double the trouble. Gonna enter the conversation.
I feel like that was best case scenario in terms of exotics, considering their playstyle. Yeah, Slapberry Fizz could be good, extra heals. Yeah, a Wrecker Revolver, the exotic could be good, but the way these guys fight, 2 different one-pump shotguns could possibly change the game, especially since they ended yesterday with a win and 19 eliminations. They're trying to channel that. Arc continues to take the fight toward the north side of the map. Goofy, Vortex, and Mountain, they're the ones they had enough of throughout the day. And Arc, yeah.
Yeah, they're scrappy, and that's the big thing here, is that Arc South was cool. They realize Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy are just farming Surge off of Queasy from a distance. So we're gonna take the battle to them. We don't wanna waste any more time as issues continue to pile up elsewhere. Epic Whale might have just met his demise at the hands of Cold. So tells me that Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, they're still on the move. They're still looking at third party, any instances they can get their hands on. But Southco, Art School, first they've got to deal with Oceania. And the longer this draws out, Jacob, the worse it is for both of them.
Yeah, when they won their major championship in Major 2. It was through aggression. It was through running down teams, forcing them back to the lobby, whether they liked it or not. They're trying to channel that here, but it's just not that easy because every one of these teams, regardless of the region, are one of the best teams in the world, which is how they qualified to this stage. Goofy, Vortex, and Mountain, they're just not going to roll over. They're going to fight with every fiber of their being. The Vortex takes a good shot. Shield goes out the window. Arc continues to pressure on that other side. Salco's there to back him up. Goofy just kind of gets tricked a little bit. Damage continues to pour in. Salco and Arc are feeling more and more confident with each second passes in this fight. But Arc might have bit off just a little bit more than he can chew. 40 HP or left is all he has left.
A little bit of over-aggression possibly spilling through there from Arc, and that's going to give Mountain, Goofy, and Vortex much more priority inside of the box fight, but teams are continuing to collapse around the map. Vico, Veno, Flixie also looking to establish a little bit of a surge strategy. It comes as no real surprise that some teams are still looking to just trade knocks from their surge-based positions, but again, when teams are caught up in these close encounters, they don't have any other choice but to fight their way through, and that's exactly what School, Arc, and Salco are looking for, but they need to have commitment. Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy just continue to delay. It is a worst-case scenario for both of these teams.
From the Osbon fight, taking down Tayson, they're now putting their aggression on the Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. They got that first elimination already on the IGL, leaving Agers and Pollo on the back foot. And it's not only that team they have to worry about. If you look at the minimap, the North, the South, even the East has third-party potential written all over it. Pollo's taking a lot of that pressure, and this is exactly what I warned you about. When you have that one-pump potential, they're immediately going to put it to use. Down goes Pollo. Frodoxy, Pablo, and Chino are looking to take over Game 9.
It's less about the one-pump potential for me, Jacob. It's more if you see Frodoxy, Pablo, and Chino win that off-spawn as quickly as they did, you never know where they're going to come from. These guys are experts at executing the roam strategy and finding their surge through sheer elimination, firepower, and Agers left to pull back the Demon's debris. But this is like starting from square one. 2 builds. We can see a little bit of where things went south here. Checking back in with Frodoxy, finding that initial knock, leading into the elimination onto Pollo. It's just disastrous right now for Acorn.
Not just them, though. No Savage, he was knocked. Chaps are trying to get back into it, but he's going to fall as well. Him and Reason just go down to Snowy and Sod. Ryu, he was eliminated early on, but they have to watch out. The third party's now looking to crash. They know, they heard it. That's Reed Cooper and Curly trying to make up for lost time. They were able to get the revive off, but saw just a sliver of HP, looking for survival. The launch pad comes out, so they have to abandon ship. Cooper sees it into the sky. This is his only chance. They cannot let him survive because they need the points. They need the surge, and they're going to grab it all.
Curly and Cooper, just the perfect tag team to nail those players. The moment that they try to escape, third parties are just so vicious, and it's crazy to think, Jacob, at how much action has really taken place inside of the Storm.
Oh no, I saw what happened in the feed, but now we get to see it here. Flixie down. Vico's trying to fight back. He gets the elimination onto Tay-Tay. Rido's essentially going to be by himself, and you see him lurking around. Veno just runs into the brick wall. Rido is there. Oh my God! Back to back!
I'm speechless. I can't believe we just witnessed that. Veno and Vico have Raito in their sights, and yet somehow, some way, they're the ones that are sitting, waiting for the battle bus to take off in the next lobby. Iyamzo, Clicks, and Higgs drawing us back into Supernova Academy. But Jacob, this is preposterous what is taking place.
I feel like all 3 majors was kind of like leaning towards one thing. A lot of these towers, the surge, the trading shots, but when you come to the global championship and things don't work out, you have to adapt, and you're really seeing a lot of these teams adapting at its finest. Marius, Vanya, Pixie from the OXR HQ. This is exactly what you were talking about, consolidating the heals early on in the game, 3 med kits in the inventory, extra med miss. So now, even though they have to rotate on out, they're as healthy as can be. The Flowberry Fizz and that launch pad means they can cover almost 1,000 meters across the map before they have to land.
It's all about just trying to stay out of that render distance. distance. They don't want to be scouted out as they're soaring in off these rotations. But Pix, Darm, Demas just continue to impress. You would never believe that this is their first ever LAN experience. They have played with so much confidence throughout the entirety of this weekend. It almost feels inevitable before they find their victory royale.
See, Darm clutched 60 points as a solo, the most of any other player. Taco, we have 8-time champions. We have 7-time champions. We have 6-time champions. We have some of the best players in the world, but it's Darm, the new kid on the block, that's really putting on a show here for his team. If they can continue this pressure, you know, I think that something can happen here when the score is over at the end of the day. Only time will tell. Anon, Resign, and Alex, they haven't moved away from their drop spot too yet. The zone has kind of helped them out, but now they're going to get a farther pull than they've ever faced so far. And the only big question, seeing nobody else really around them, is how much surge do they have?
Well, at least have that Rift Pod incoming. A little bit more resources, a little bit more utility that they can possibly utilize. But heading towards the top of this mountain range, Anon bound to have spotted out those players a little bit further east from where they're located. So you have to anticipate that there's going to be a team possibly looking to set up a crouch sneak play. You can never be too careful. You got to check every single corner in day 2.
Kanata Rapid Bolts rotating on over, trying to get as close to the center of the zone as possible, give themselves a little bit of elevation to work with, not too much. They don't want to be kind of the focus of the lobby overall. Seti, Yapko, Panzer, same thing for them. They already got their mountaintop. Just at the edge of the zone, though. Seti's using that bush to his advantage, not even a full box.
If you don't respect the player, you've got to respect the gameplay. Maybe Seti can win over this French audience. Maybe he can be an honorary, nominee for somebody to cheer for here, because they've really been playing lights out this weekend, Jacob. They deserve a little bit of credit for what they've been able to put up. But right now, it's all about Anon, Alex, and Resigns trying to shut down Seti, Panzer, and Yapko. They don't want to allow him to find any sort of rhythm.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, though, because you saw that stat. Yapko, with 2 different versions of the AR, he has the most damage in the lobby, making sure that they can play these games out with flexibility. They can play these games out with space and positioning, because he is making sure they are almost always above that Storm Surge threshold. And it comes from positioning like this. Remember, Taco, they land at the Kappa factory all the way towards the east, so they're making their rotations a huge focal point of their game plan. As we jump on board, Clix, Higgs, and Iyamso still rotating in from the north side of the map. They're being trailed by King Phaser and PHSIN, which is not a comfortable feeling, because King Phaser and PHSIN love to fight.
And it's not only that, but look at how much material they've been having to burn on their way in. Not only that, but they're also just announcing to everybody else inside of zone already that's looking back, oh, there's walls going up. Oh, there's definitely at least one team approaching us from the flank, so they don't even have a chance to try and even posture more towards the inner section of that edge of zone. And Phaser, King, PHSIN, that is the last team you want behind you, because for the reasons you just mentioned, Jacob, they love to fight.
And they do so as a full trio. So it's almost like a hope for Clix, Iyamso, and Higgs, or any other team positioned nearby, that they're above the damage threshold, because that's one less aggressive team that you do have to worry about. But you're seeing when it comes to our top 10, 2 more teams have went down. Still got Malabuka's team alive, 332 points. He's only 2 points down from 8th. 2 more points after that for 7th. A little bit more of a run to get into the top 6, but with that player and team already down, it's a realistic chance. Uncontested has proved to be fruitful, but oh my gosh, the Daxter strikes somehow, some way. Panzer, Yapko, they're both down. Seti, the invitational champion, has to figure out a way to fight back, but that Praise on the other side. Visual diminished. They have to be nearby, and especially now, more and more teams are closing in on the distance. Seti has to figure it out, and he gets denied.
There's just nowhere left for Seti to run, and France is going crazy. Watching Seti be eliminated, but the action isn't done just yet. Anon resigns. Alex still overhead. Underneath, Buyuriru and Wixie, they're trying to prevent Braves, Visuals, and the Minish from actually leaving this territory. But for how long actually stop them the moment that they move out of here. Visuals bound to take notice. He's immediately trying to apply a little bit of additional damage, maybe get some good shots up, but revisiting what was going down with Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs, they're actually going to be the ones to get the jump onto Asia. Razzle a little bit too isolated, and that's going to be an immediate knock into the elimination.
Yeah, Razzle got frazzled by Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs, but they're not giving up. And this is a change-up with another knock. An elimination going over to Iamzo. It all comes at a cost because Clix goes down. Higgs is trying to stay alive, and he does just that. Iamzo helping save the day, and that's the big part from this team. Because remember, there was a moment yesterday. They got a knock. They got an elimination onto Kanata. Higgs wanted to push over. He wanted to fight that fight 3v2. The rest of the team said, nah, 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 let's rotate in. These guys have come for a comeback.
But Pablo, he's last man standing. Paper, still looking to see if he can find him, and Victor V right next to him. Pablo so deeply tucked away into a corner, but he doesn't have a whole lot of options to escape here. Immediately charged in, but Paper, what a shot! He's gonna be put down into the dirt. Victor V is gonna be able to revive him. A nice clutch by their fragger, but that was still insanity.
I love how they're willing to fight the best of the best in the entire world, and that's Victor V's legacy. If y'all remember way, way back when Arkham was even still playing, Coney Crossroads, Victor V said, this is my drop. I don't care how many championships you have, Epic. I don't know how many championships you have, Arkham. You're gonna have to go through me. And it's full circle. Now they're on the same team, and that confidence for Victor V is at an all-time high.
This is a much more familiar sight, though, for Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstash. Arguably their best loadouts at this point of the lobby so far here today. And Merstash, Swizzy, Queasy definitely still being very conscious of what surrounds them. School Arc and Salco not too far behind, but Iamzo and Clix, they're forcing their way into these edges of zones, and they just don't have anything to work with. The last of their materials being expended. Iamzo even opting to try and fall further back, hoping that the Medmis can buy him enough time, but Pump, Baka, Pars, they're already in zone, Jacob. They'll hold this for as long as they want.
Yeah, and since they're already positioned in zone, like you said, it makes it an easy decision for Pars to kind of go by himself. He knows his teammates are watching his back to try to get that loot as fast as possible. Iamzo knows they're closing in on the distance. He's trying to use his crash pads to escape, but you cannot escape NA West as they take down Clix, Higgs, and Iamzo, and their struggles continue.
Just asking for way too much for Iamzo to wiggle his way out of that one. Even if it hadn't been Baka, Pars, and Pump, you could see there's still several other teams in the area that were bound to lobby focus that solo the moment that they spotted him out. Malabuka walks ping, though. Looking to get a little bit more active here, trying to funnel teams around them. They want to see if they can make a play just to switch slightly higher up onto the elevation, utilize some of this natural map terrain, but they're still holding teams back. They don't want anybody rotating through them. Malabuka keeping a heavy eye out. Walks, separate angle hold there too, but right now, they've got a little bit more time. It's the calm before the storm.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement, the way some of these games have been going on, especially today, where more and more teams are realizing the position that they are in on that leaderboard. They're realizing one of the only ways to come back is actually contesting that high ground, making sure Merstash, Queasy, and Swizzy don't continue to run away with a tournament. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Him and Braids get active early on. They get another elimination on the mid-team. As the Arms just continue to look around, every team that crash pads to the zone, they're at least landing 1, 2, 3 crucial shots, which is where you see the difference right there from Coyote, Yuma, and Raise, is because they used a Flowberry Fizz with the crash pad to cover more ground, get higher up in the sky, and make it harder for them to get tagged up.
A little bit of a look back into what went down with Brazil. Phaser actually winning out, getting a good knock onto Cooper. And that's gonna leave a very difficult entry point for Salco, Arc, and School. They're not even gonna be able to push through. Just completely forced back. The interruption so steep, but up on height. Watts, he's been knocked. He never had a chance to close it off. He's gonna have to depend on Malabuka to get him back to safety, but they're gonna have to forfeit height here, Jacob. Another team bound to try and jump immediately onto them, but Ping, Malabuka somehow brought back without much of a challenge, and that is actually actually insanity to witness. And Surge underneath, that's the real problem.
It's not just Surge, it's active Surge on top of that. Alex and On resigned, they're trying to rotate away. They get some shots, but they're still 160 below. Every 7 or so seconds, 25 damage pours out, and you don't get knocked. You get straight eliminated. Crash Pad, Flowberry Fizz, they're doing what they can to rotate towards the zone, but it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, it's Mustache on the other side. M8 versus M8. Malibuca has no choice. 128 below the damage threshold. Queasy down, Swizzy, a sliver of HP. It's all up to Mustache.
But Mustache knows how to play it through as a solo. He can maybe clutch up big time here. He just needs a few more placements to continue in first place. Malibuca walks Ping still underneath that Surge threshold. They're trying, they're so desperate. Everybody around them knows it too. They're not trying to allow the opportunity to let these guys break through their builds. But Mustache is a solo. What more could you possibly do? He's still buying points. He just needs players to fall around him.
I feel like if anybody could start to make this clutch happen, it's him. They are above the damage threshold, but no Queasy, no Swizzy. They're not in this lobby, and that means a new team is able to claim that high ground. Pixie, Vanya, and Marius. Last time we seen them on this high ground, they weren't able to convert, but this is a second chance for them. And this is a big chance because we're still into the top 15. They have no eliminations for Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy. They only have 2 placements versus placement points. This is how you close the gap.
They're certain to have seen what that elimination feed looks like though, but Demas, Darm, Pix, seeing them control the low ground comes as no real surprise, but they know they've got to keep a hold of that front side. They're immediately going to start making their way towards it, but they still got to be careful. Height overhead, Mustache is a solo. He'll be forced to drop to ultimate low. Malibuca creeping directly underneath him, but Mustache, he doesn't realize it. He only has 6 builds. He's trying to conserve as much as he possibly can. He's just so quiet in the background.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting for the zone to force him out, let all these teams bypass him on this rotation, and hopefully try to get some sort of a sneak attack. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual still alive in this game as well, but their material count rather low. A lot of the teams being affected by the high ground and the pressure that they keep pouring down, but at least they're 134 above the damage threshold. When it comes to Storm Surge, I think they're good from here on out, and even Pixie from up above getting another knock onto Coyota. Alex cleans that one up, so Luke going on over to him, but they're just pressuring over and over and over, whether it's an AR, the double pump, they're not letting any team look up.
It's an issue though. Anon, Alex resigns from the low ground. They might be able to pick off Yuma, but they got to worry about Pixstar and Demas, who've essentially cut them off. They've completely surrounded Oceania. They're going to be the ones to overtake the front side of zone now, and with Darm leading the charge, spraying back next to Pump, Bars, and Baca, but no one dares to challenge Poland underneath.
That was a good time to take him out. There are 12 placements worth of points still left, more than half still on the leaderboard. Resigns trying to go in. They lose Alex along the way. Underneath, they have to turn back. That's Kanata. They're wreaking havoc on the low ground. Resigns falls all the same. The whole team gets sent back to the lobby. Even Baca's feeling it. Hars has to go on by himself. Vanya's taking down Peter. Nobody has had a chance to look up. They're denying opportunity after opportunity. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya could go all the way.
Without Acorn or Queasy in the lobby, we knew Height was probably going to default to Vanya instead, but darn, Demas, Pix, they refuse to give it up. They're still looking to bring this one home. Kanata as a solo, Marius with another elimination, just carrying all of the resources back to his Tarper. Vanya down to his final couple of builds, but thanks to that refresh, a little bit further, he can extend that Height take. Pixie thought he could maybe drop. He's got Marius right next to him. They're causing so much catastrophe, but Pixstar and Demas, that's a fight they might be willing to take.
I could count on one hand how many healthy teams are still left in this game. Kanata has no shot. He's trying to get as many placements before he eventually does go down. Vanya, I'm not sure what happened, but he gets knocked. 2 players up on the high ground. Sphinx trying to battle back, but Pixie gets dropped. Marius falls as well. Pixstar and Demas, the underdogs, are looking to take it all because they might be one of the only trios left in this lobby, but I spoke too soon. Darm goes down. They have to get the revive. They're the only team on the low ground in the zone.
Sphinx and Shadow, they don't have a chance. They can't push through. They know they need to find a way to break open, but Darm, that's a big shot. That's all that they needed. Phaser, last man standing on Height. Pix trying to see where's his last player. He's looking to chop out Phaser. Whether or not Phaser can even drop, does he have the Flowberry Fizz? Will he fall before he gets the chance? He was hoping somebody else would deal with Poland, but Pix and Demas, this is it. Poskagura reigning through. Pix, Demas, and Darm bring it home.
From underdogs to top dogs. And with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache going down early, that shoots them straight up that leaderboard. They look like they have been here for years. Frankie, we need to know their secret.
I don't know what their secret is, but I have to say, all year in Europe, we've been looking at Pix, Darm, and Demas. This trio that seemingly came out of nowhere and have been impressing us ever since. I mean, this has been just an incredible event for you so far, Dom.
Yeah, it was incredible, to be honest. Like, I mean, it's our first Globals and we played this good. It's crazy.
And tell me how you've worked on your game through the year, because when we first saw you competing in Major 1 as a trio, you were so aggressive, and now you know how to not over-aggress. You know how to play the game right through to its end. What have you learned along the way?
I mean, we worked with our coach Sven, so like we learned a lot and what to do and what to not do.
But he's taught you very well.
I have a huge question, but just before, je crois que Avoc a beaucoup de fans ici, faites du bruit! Pix, you have a lot of fans there. Do you have a word for them?
I love you all. Thank you for the support.
Merci beaucoup pour le soutien, ils vous adorent. Faites encore du bruit pour leur trio.
Demas, playing in Majors online is one thing, but how do you manage to achieve this success on LAN?
We played the game actually like the best as we can, like, and we just won it.
Do you think you can go even further and do the back-to-back?
I'm sorry?
Do you think you can win the next game too?
We see in 20 minutes, no?
We will see. You're going to have a bit of a break and a well-deserved one. Please, Leon, Havoc fans, show your appreciation. Pix, Darm, and Demas! We have to take a bit of a break, but don't go anywhere, because in a few minutes, we're going to assess what we've seen so far.
Voor maar €9,95 geniet je nu van een Big Mac menu. Met zo'n lekkere prijs doet niks er meer toe. Een heel menu voor minder dan een tientje. Je kunt altijd rekenen op McDonald's.
112 politie, wat is plaats voor je noodgeval?
Er is weer een inbraak geweest in onze wijk. Dat betekent dat we te maken hebben met een echte inbraakgolf.
Dit is hem. Ik heb hem. Hier moet hij zijn. En wat heb jij in huis? Vergroot je talent, vergroot je impact, vergroot jezelf. Kom bij de politie.
up with the trio and my eyes all red. 1, 2, 3 of us can't compete with us. Everybody screaming like they did and believe in us. Believe in us, believe in us, believe in us. 2 hits on the wait list. I was armed and dangerous. Take a shot, leave them faceless. I was armed and dangerous. On a whole different level. I can see why they hate it. I was armed and dangerous. I was armed and dangerous. You should have noticed. I've been focused. You should have known I've been loaded. You should have known.
Fortnite fam, this game could not be crazier. Pix, Demus, Darm get a victory royale at the halfway point of the competition. Game number 9 going their way. It is getting more and more chaotic. Kelly, I cannot believe with only 3 games left to go. It feels like in some ways we just started the competition. And in some ways, I wish we could just start over so we didn't have to, this is game 12, then start over game 12. Like just keep doing that. I don't want this to end.
Well, speaking of starting over, I want to start over from day number 1. Actually, the 3rd game of that day, we saw Pix, Darm, and Demus in a very similar position. They were front low zone or low ground, making sure that they're kind of taking some peeks, not really going on the aggressive like we've seen. Unfortunately, though, the team that was on high ground was Queasy's team. So although they weren't able to get the victory royale in this game, to see them make just those tiny little adjustments, understand what they need to do to take down the high ground team, and then come out on top, that's what I love to see.
I love watching these guys play Fortnite. You know, and I can say that for a lot of the teams in the lobby, but these 3 in particular, they just have a poise about their game, right? They don't play like a lot of the other top teams who have been, you know, fighting at the top of the leaderboard play. These aren't a team that are uber reliant on playing high gun. But when they are on those mid and low layers, they are so devastating. You don't want to be caught anywhere near them because Demus might hit you with a shot like that. Pix might be waiting around the corner with a big one pump in hand. You know, Darm is always going to have something cooking. They are just so threatening on all fronts.
To do this against such huge names like FaZe and all these other top trios that have had LAN experience for so long, and this is their first LAN, I would never in a million years be able to guess that they would be able to handle the pressure like they are doing today.
That is so well executed from them. And I'm sure, like, you got to think in that moment, they've just got to feel over the moon, right? To have that moment. Guys, we not only showed up and made it to land, we got a victory royale in land. The crowd was behind us. Incredible stuff. Up a placement now, 498 points. They're top 3, Levin.
There's 3 games left of the Global Championship, and these 3 who are playing in their first ever Global Championship sit in 3rd. Like, that's insane. Like, for them to even be able to keep their composure, if they literally just stopped playing from here on out, it would be a successful tournament for these guys, right? But there's more for them. There's more to come. They're going to keep fighting until the end.
Dude, it's so sick. Okay, we're going to go back to those standings in just a moment. First, just a reminder, we are at the halfway point, which means we've let our players out. We've kind of given them some time to calm down, collect themselves, prepare for the last half of today. And then we'll get back into all the action. As we turn attention back to the standings, these numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? This is gonna start coming down to the wire. I also wanted to note, you know, Kanata, Rapid, Bolts, not a big deal, but moving up a place, that's right, NA. We're getting closer to the top.
Well, if we're talking about closer to the top, though, I gotta look at Vanya, Marius, and Pixie. The last hope to make this a close competition against Queasy, Murstache, and Swizzy. And honestly, if anyone can do it, it is this trio right here, holding down at OXR, but making sure that any opportunity they can get on height, they're gonna take that away from Queasy.
I'm very excited because these 2 teams have been involved throughout the year in EU of writing the story of FNCS majors, and I trust these 2 to write a good ending here today. Queasy's trio didn't have the best of games. They're going into the halftime show. It was a great opportunity for Pixie, Marius, and Vanya to start to close the gap. And although I think you could say they did a great job of taking that opportunity, there was more they could have definitely got out of that game that they'll look back on maybe in regret moving forward.
I do appreciate, though, you can see that those mats are getting low. They understand that there's still a lot of viable teams in the low ground there, so they probably shouldn't be able to hold an extreme height like we've seen other trios do. So they drop down, try and get as many refreshes as they can. Unfortunately, didn't go exactly their favor, but still, I appreciate that effort.
And the thing I loved, right, is obviously all the players came off the stage. Vanya walked past, still looking cool, calm, collected. He gave me a little cheeky smile. He's like, Evan, we're coming. That first place slot, it's not safe just yet, Queasy.
Oh, man. Well, you brought him up. We might as well talk about him, right? Queasy still in that #1 spot, at least for now, right? Continuing to hold on. You know, again, I kind of talked about this earlier about a game or two ago, but the fact that we haven't seen them have that game yet today, right? Today it's kind of just, hey, let's just kind of hold on, let's just stay the course, let's just make sure we're kind of trying to min-max as much as we can with what we have. But Kelly, I feel like that game is coming, right?
It's so funny because, you know, we're like, oh, this day, it's not going that well for them, but they're still making it to every single end game. And even when Merstash was down as a solo player, he was playing so smart, making sure that he was staying in the back of zone, making sure that he was staying in the mid ground to not deal with all that aggression going on in the low ground. Even when things aren't going well for them, they're still playing so smart.
I agree. I think this is going to be an interesting sort of finish for them. Yesterday, I sort of described a lot of their games as looking very easy, right? It felt like they were playing an easy game. Didn't look like there was much challenge at all. Today, the games look tough. Like, it looks like they're playing at the Global Championships now, right? And we'll see how they adjust to that. I don't necessarily even think that we will see a game like yesterday from them, but like Kelly highlighted, they're still having good games, good enough games to keep your lead if you can stay as a trio.
Yeah, it's almost like, obviously, this is us being, me specifically being hypercritical, right? Again, we watched 3 games, 3 VRs back to back, and I'm being like, I want that again, but it's like, no, you guys are right. They're having great games. I just want to see another Victory Royale. You know we're going to come back to them. It's Kanata, it's Rapid, it's Bolt moving up. And again, if we just look from like 4th up to 2nd place, right? The point differential isn't that crazy. Kanata, he won game 1 yesterday, right? We've seen it happen. So I think as long as they can continue to kind of pull that consistency up a little bit, maybe we see a VR from them, maybe we see them slowly continue to rise up the standings.
I mean, Kanata, Bolt, Rapid, they're just playing the games that they understand. They're playing a little bit passively, they're playing with the minigun, they're kind of just spraying out players and kind of hoping that something works out in their favor. But unfortunately, still not able to get into that Victory Royale situation. Kanata here even staying in Storm a little bit early, but when you have nothing else there, making sure that you make it into placement, consistency, and that is what this trio is known for. Not necessarily the elims, but just consistency. I think that they're playing the game the way that they want.
I almost wonder if we have a runner close by, because I need someone to go get a Durag. I need Durag Nada on stage right now. He's NA's only hope, okay? His only hope, our only hope. Let's take a look at those standings and take a look at page number 2. All right, let's see how things are going. On the 2nd page, again, we take a look. Chap, Reason, Mr. Savage, right? Not that terribly far away, and even in 12th, right? Think about Phaser, PhD, and King. That last game making it to the end game. Guys, I feel like making it to the end game is so critical. So many of those points are locked up in just making it there, and I love that from this Brazilian team, we see them get there.
Absolutely. I think that the big thing is we're starting to see a lot of those teams on that 2nd page finding a bit more momentum, and it's going to get tighter and tighter. And what that means is by the time we get to game 11 and 12, it's going to get hyper and hyper, because every single decision, every single thing that happens in that game, every single placement will have an impact on who sits on that top 10.
Okay, all right, I'm getting word. We have an interview lined up. Merstash is standing by with Frankie right now.
Thank you, Merstash, for agreeing to talk to us at what must be quite a high-pressure moment. You were still top of the leaderboard with 81 points, but the games haven't been your strongest of the competition. What's been happening with the high ground? Why haven't you been able to hold on to it?
So I think so many people were reviewed and going for high ground. It was obviously we knew it. I think we just need mental reset, and that's the break we need to win the tournament.
81 points from the 2nd place. What's the strategy now for the next games?
As I said, I think we're playing good. We just need mentally reset for all of us, and we're gonna play much better after the break.
La simple chose à faire, c'est de reset mental, c'est-à-dire repartir de zéro mentalement, se remettre bien mentalement et repartir de l'avant, parce qu'ils le savent, ils ont le niveau, et s'ils le font, normalement, d'après Merstash, ça devrait passer.
So how is the energy now for the trio, Merstash? Obviously, you still have the energy of the audience, but what are the vibes in the booth?
I mean, the vibes are still good. We kind of went down after the last game because we died earlier, but yeah, after the break, I'm pretty sure everything's gonna come back and we're gonna win.
So what's the plan for the last 3 games?
Take high, don't die.
I think that you are going to play out of your mind. We only get to do this once a year, and I know you're not going anywhere without a fight. Thank you so much, Merstash. Good luck. Let's head back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Mercesh, for that time. We know this time is very valuable for these players, right? So super appreciative of him. Just taking a moment, letting us kind of get into his mind, see where he's at. Oh my gosh, we only have 3 games left to go in the Global Championship. How did we get here? How did this happen so fast, Levin? Let's rewind time.
I mean, the games have just been so good. And you know what they say, time flies when you're having a blast. Looking at what Mustache said there, Kelly, he talked about them having an understanding that this type of thing was going to happen. Hype was always going to be a lot more chaotic. There was always going to be a lot more suitors going for it on day 2. And I liked how he sort of said, there's not like an in-game tactical adjustment we have to make. We just need the mental reset. We know what we're doing. We just need to execute better.
And if anyone can do it, it's going to be Queasy, one of the biggest veterans that we have in the competition, getting 2 second places in LAN already. He understands what it means to have a mental reset and to kind of coach these players to himself to be able to bring them into this mindset. I think that's really what like stands Queasy above the rest.
Yeah, I don't want this to end up being like famous last words, but there is no one more prepared than him for like the finishing race, right? Like you're approaching that moment in the last couple games of a global championship. Nobody has dealt with the bad side of it as much as him, right? So in theory, nobody should be more prepared for it.
Interesting. That's something. Also, you said something. The fact that like obviously this is a LAN setting, so if I go in and we play a lot from home, right? A lot of our majors are remote, right? If I'm at home, I'm comfortable. I'm in my chair. I'm leaned back. Got my shoes off. Got my drinks close by. It's a lot different than being in this stadium on LAN, under the lights, under the pressure of this crowd. You make a mistake, you hear a boo. You get an elim, you hear them roar, right? It just is so different. Also wanted to highlight just some little fun interactions around we've been seeing in the map as we kind of bring up the standings. I believe it's Vico, Veno, Flixie have had quite the run here at LAN. Obviously, again, love him or hate him, Veno is a character coming out, being Veno. Vico, he's a talker. He's confident, but he can back that up with a lot of his play, Levin. So I'm excited to see what they bring for the last 3 games.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. As someone who knows these guys really well, I was worried about them when I realized what the atmosphere here was gonna be like, right? Because again, they're very emotional players. In the case of Vico and Veno, at times they can allow some of these things to get to them. At times it's been difficult for them, but it's good to see that in moments in-game, they're not allowing that noise to really get to them, right? They're able to stay locked in. This game, unfortunately, was not a great example of that. Raito really just put them to sleep, put them to shame. So again, I think like Mustache's trio, this break will be huge for these guys for a mental reset.
Yeah, definitely. And, Raito there has got to be feeling good representing the smaller regions here, especially to take down someone like Veno, Vico, Flixie, who have kind of put a little bit of a target on their back. You know that the audience loved what? No, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
I never noticed.
I like that. I like it. Guys, I'm getting word. I want to head on up to a little interview. Benji is standing by with Gotaga.
What?
Eh oui, les amis, regardez, je suis en compagnie de quelqu'un ici que vous connaissez bien. Eh oui, Coco, oui, Gotha, je sais que tu adores ça. Gotha, j'ai entendu dire que c'était un jour un peu particulier pour toi aujourd'hui, non?
Oui, on va être champion du monde, c'est pour ça.
Eh non, je parle évidemment de ton anniversaire, Gotha. C'est aujourd'hui l'anniversaire de Gotaga. Eh, c'est quand même pas mal comme anniversaire pour l'instant.
C'est vrai. Et mes joueurs peuvent m'offrir le meilleur cadeau ever le jour de mon anniversaire, donc c'est trop bien.
S'il le fait, c'est vraiment le meilleur cadeau ever, clairement.
Oui, totalement.
Bon, comment ça se passe pour vous pour l'instant, cette finale, ce cast avec Squeezie, Brox et Nikov, tout ça va? Ça va bien?
C'est incroyable, là on commence un peu à stresser, on a la pression à chaque bus qui part, et non, c'est ouf. Le public, la France, les fans de Gentlemate, les fans des autres structures, un grand merci à tout le monde. Vous êtes énormes, vous faites rayonner la France à l'international, les gars. Merci pour tout, vraiment.
Dernière question. Il n'y a plus que 81 points d'avance pour le trio de Merstache. Est-ce que ça va le faire? Est-ce qu'ils vont aller au bout, Gotha?
Je pense qu'ils vont aller au bout, et au pire des cas, c'est Vagnac. Donc voilà, les gars. Voilà, on est trop bien.
Les gars, du bruit pour Gotaga, Squeezie, Brox et Nikov. Encore un joyeux anniversaire, Gotha, mais c'est pas le seul. On a d'autres anniversaires à souhaiter aujourd'hui. Et le prochain, c'est avec Frankie. Frankie, it's your turn.
Merci beaucoup, Benji. From one birthday boy to another. Amar, what's it like spending your birthday with an incredible arena like this?
It is actually amazing to have this kind of birthday present Gotaga, my friend. Bon anniversaire as well from here upstairs. Gotaga and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's actually insane.
Have you got a joint birthday party planned for later?
I might have planned a birthday party, right? Yeah. It's.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ama. Happy birthday to you.
Now, Ama, make a wish. Wish for your favorite player. Who is winning the 2025 Fortnite Global Championship? We don't know, but it will be whoever Ama wished for. And he's going to tell me in just a moment. Okay.
Can I just do one thing quick?
Absolutely.
Gentle! Gentle!
Gentle, gentle, gentle!
Let's go! Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Ama.
Who wants some cake?
Well, I think we're just gonna go and we're gonna go and have some cake here, and you guys enjoy this.
The trophy lift's the best part of any LAN. Hearing the crowd cheer you on and casters, even the pros.
كاس يعطيه زي ما تقول جائزة اللي هو يستحق التعب اللي هو سواه.
Yeah, a lot of players dream of lifting the trophy at LAN. Yeah, raising the trophy at LAN was definitely the highlight of my career. Hearing all the crowd and all the people like yelling when I walked out, like that's an experience that I won't even pay to do again.
It was just such an amazing feeling to complete the dream, the best moment of my life, 100%.
Honestly, lifting the trophy at LAN, there's nothing I can compare that to. I don't know if I'm ever gonna feel anything like that again. The trophy's looking clean. Yeah, that's a good looking trophy. I mean, that trophy's 10 times better than my...
شعور اني فزت 4 فنسس ولا قدرت اشيل كاس شعور غريب شوي يجيني شعور داخلي ان ليش انا ما رفعت كاس الى الان.
I really want to lift the trophy. Hopefully this year I can finally lift it. I think winning online is 100 times better than winning online just because the atmosphere, the experience, the fans, and like the trophy lift. Everything at LAN is just more exciting, more fun, has more eyes on it.
Yeah, it 100% feels like this every time you go in the LAN. You just chase that feeling over and over again, clutch after clutch, win after win.
I don't think anything in life could make me more happy, and I also want my teammates to experience it. Like I said, I mean, it's such a one-of-one feeling. If it's not a win on LAN, then it doesn't really matter. So to win here at Global would just be a great feeling on moment, honestly, because it's something that I've had on my list for a while now. Winning an official Fortnite LAN would definitely be the craziest moment in my career for sure.
اذا تيم مدريست رفع الكاس وفاز بالبطوله بيرفع اسم مدريست الاعلى مثل الجمعيه هناك.
I think it's just going to be a beautiful addition to the collection.
I've already won before with the different teammates, so I can win again. A lot of people said I'm an underdog, but I showed them not.
اني اتشوق اللحظه اني ارفع فيها الكاس.
Look, we all wish we could take that trophy home. You know, guys, I'm just gonna go up the. I gotta. Someone's calling me. I'm gonna go up the stage real fast.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'll be right back. You guys just keep doing your thing. No, but in all seriousness, of course, this is a good time once again. Players are currently, we've taken a break, right? Getting that mental reset, and they'll get back into the action as quickly as we can. Seeing all these players kind of talk about that trophy, this just means so much, right? Like, obviously, prize money's awesome, right? Life-changing amounts of stuff. But like a global champion title and a trophy to kind of forever cement your accomplishment, dude, that's what so many of these players, they chase.
And there's players, like, there's just so many different situations when a team comes into a LAN setting like this, whether you think that they're the favorites to win it all or they're the underdogs and they somehow come out on top, and that it just inspires so many people, so many players. And I always like to ask the question for the winners, what do you want to say to people that want to be like you, and the inspiration that they have, that they want to just show to all the kids watching, essentially, that this can be them. I mean, you look back on those previous winners, at one point they were starting new in Fortnite, and to be able to focus themselves, to be able to climb up all the way to this stage and then grab that trophy for themselves just means so much to not only them, but to all their fans watching as well.
Like, Kelly's hyping me up right now.
Again, you hyped up.
I want to run through a brick wall right now. I'm ready to go lift that trophy myself. I mean, I wish I could. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Look, you're spot on, Kelly. The the euphoric feeling you get from being able to step up once the competition is done, all the lights shining bright on you, you make your walk to lift the trophy. It's something you never ever forget. And it's something that, you know, whenever I talk to these players after the Global Championships, the players who didn't win, that's always what they're focusing on. It's always I wish I could be the one to lift that trophy. Next year is my time.
For me, in esports, I always talk about the story, and right now there is a beautiful story building, going all the way back to the Invitational, Cammy and Seti versus Queasy and Vino. The story that everyone said saved competitive Fortnite was Queasy and Vino landing on Cammy and Seti, and although it didn't go their way and they got second place, that cemented them in competitive Fortnite forever. And then you go to last year, where we think it is going to be an absolute stop of Poyo versus Peterbot, but Queasy says, nah, I'm gonna make them earn this win and get second place once again. Full circle, we are here now, back on the global stage, and Queasy finally has that first place spot in his grasp.
It's right there.
It's right,
right there. Hey,
this has been a story building for 3 years.
Now, obviously, the person right behind him on his heels, right, is Vanya, saying, hold on, Queasy, I've got the crowd behind me, don't get too far away. Now, obviously, you can see the players are starting to get back on the stage. They're starting to take their seats once more. We'll get back into games as quickly as we can. But man, oh man, tension is building for sure. 3 games, and now we have to start asking the question, now that you guys have had that mental reset, what is the game plan? At this point, this is a brand new competition. You have 3 games. Whatever has happened before now does not matter. We're either playing to try and take away first from Queasy, or we're trying to play to get in the top 10, because that is life-changing money.
You leave it all out on the server. 3 most important games of your Fortnite life.
Yep.
You have to do whatever it takes, as crazy as it sounds.
But what is whatever it takes? Are we going to see what we saw in Major 3 for the North American Championships? Are we going to have the second place team land on the first place team? Are we going to see some crazy rotations? We've also seen teams change up their drop spots in the final moment. Is that what's going to happen? And it's not just fighting for first. We keep talking about first place. That is where the glory is. However, all of these teams are making sure that they can climb up that leaderboard, grab the bigger piece of the pie, because everyone here is fighting for notoriety and fighting for that prize pool.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we always speak about the top surprising players who have performed. You know, your placement here might catapult your career in the next direction. I look back to last year, right? A lot of the players who didn't win, but ended up becoming sort of stars in the world of Fortnite. The guys like Wox, guys like Bolts, right? They didn't win the competition, but everyone left the competition talking about how they performed. You want to put yourself in that category, someone who people are talking about for months and months after the competition.
It's only a catapult, right? From this point forward, regardless of where they end, I would say at the end of the day, these guys have made it to the Global Championship. This is the biggest stage possible. These are some of the best trios in the world. And now, like what you're saying, right? To say, let's just get into the top, let's place top 5. Instant respect, instant street cred. How many of these trios are looking to do that? And that's what I'm saying, man. 3 games, let's go. Kelly, I mean, let's get crazy, right? Everybody in the lobby, let's just go land Queasy. Let's take him out. Let's try and close the gap, and then everybody kind of walk
Whoa. Why do you say Kelly? He's trying to put that on me right now.
I don't think Queasy's going to be a big fan of you guys anymore. I mean, everyone, you can't be having none of that. I mean, look, if you ask him right now, he'd say, yeah, they can do whatever. We're ready for it, right? Because that is just how stone cold he is. And we'll see if in these next 3 games he really can solidify himself as the greatest IGL of all time.
But we can't count out the rest of the teams in 2nd and 3rd and 4th place. We saw game number 6, Pablo Wingo walk out with almost a 200-point game. So much can change if you're able to grab all of those eliminations, if you're able to kind of control the low ground while Queasy's sticking up high, making sure that he's just staying alive. There is still a chance, there is still an opportunity, but with 3 games left, Zeke, only time will tell what's gonna happen.
You gotta think the pressure's gotta be through the roof. Think about coming into day number 1, right? Oh, you know, LAN, here we are, my friends, my peers, this amazing crowd. Pressure's on. First half of day 2, hey, maybe we're doing well, maybe we're not, you know, whatever. The last 3 games, this will be it. Pressure is through the, even just looking at Queasy, right? Can he handle that pressure with only 3 games? When I look at Queasy and even how he was from the beginning of day 1 yesterday to where we are right now, he looks the same. He looks locked in. He looks like, hey, I'm putting up as many walls to keep this noise out as possible because I know what I came here to do. I